It's 11:35, and that ain't no jive. Even if you're watching at another time, it's 11:35 p.m. on a Sunday night. Yeah, the what 9th of June, 9th of June. And felt weird putting hairspray in my hair at 11:15 at night. I don't usually do that, but try to make myself presentable, and don't know how I succeeded. I need better lighting. Anyway, welcome. Let me get the content first, and then we'll say hello. Shell is first to join us from Canada. Oh, Canada. Um, the biggest source of Bob Joyce news these days is definitely Bob Joyce. In fact, he creates so much breaking news these days. I'm back up on the Bob Joyce stuff because I was under the weather, whatever that means. Oh yeah, someone told me it has to do with sailors going uh, to their quarters in the lower part of the boat because they were under the weather. um, But those of you who watched Pastor Bob already know that he announced from the pulpit in Benton, Arkansas, that he has purchased, and this is just breaking. So they just released the video a few hours ago, and I'm relying on my sources. He announced that he has purchased 9 acres of land in Arkansas, and so he is going to solve the no room at the church problem big time. And I think he's going to have in mind when they build this, which I assume will be near Benton because the congregation needs to get there. He doesn't want to shut out the congregation. He's not going to go to the more perhaps lucrative Little Rock area. I would think he's going to go near Benton. And I would think he would be thinking about the person who will own it after him and realize he's got to make it really nice. I could see a really nice sanctuary with a lot of seats, 5,000. It all depends what his plans are. And then far away from that would be the main house, and but all on the same 9 acres of land, of course. So that answers some questions. It answers the question is what name will be on the next Bob Joyce CD. If you watch us on a regular basis, you know that we took a poll. What name should be on the CD. More people said Bob Joyce than said Elvis Presley. I'll tell you that much. Kind of surprised me, but more people did. However, when we talked about when should the life story of Bob Joyce come out, if he is really or has written his life story, should it be after his death or now? And an overwhelming amount said now. Right now would not be a good idea. I mean, Gene Ho wants a big event in Hot Springs, Arkansas, but I don't think he wants a neutron bomb. I don't think he wants that. I don't think they're prepared for that, So that would mean that if the CD is to be released in mid-July, recorded in Nashville, some tracks with a full orchestra, that the name Bob Joyce will be on the CD. I can't see any way it wouldn't be, I can't see any way it wouldn't be. As Wolfman Jack said to Wolf Woman when he was about to die and he left his limo and he walked up a short incline in South Carolina after doing a show in Nashville the night before, he extended his arms and said, "One more time, baby, one more time." My glasses are stained and it's distracting me. And that regular cloth they give you is not going to do it. So I must put a little water on it. Put a little water on it. Yeah. Um, so I thought, well, say he were to build a 5,000 seat sanctuary. Um, Nobody in the Arkansas area could fill it uh, after he passes. Um, Nobody that I couldn't think of, at least right away. Um, I mean, a big minister is not going to move their ministry. I'm sorry, to Benton, Arkansas. They're not. You got incredible heat in the summer, and it gets pretty cold in the winter. It's not a metropolis. It's not known as a cultural icon, although things could be improving dramatically. Buy a business in Benton, maybe, huh? Don't say I didn't tell you in advance. And I'm just guessing. I speak of possibilities. I could be wrong about the whole thing. I don't think I'm wrong about the 9 acres, though, because he said it apparently from the pulpit on this Sunday morning as I talk to you. Whenever you see this, hello, replay crowd. So glad you're here. I like to do content first before I say hello to everybody so that the people that just tune in for content don't feel gypped and don't tune out without hearing what they wanted to hear. And then we invite you to stay with the family here. And I'll be saying hello to everybody in just a second, I promise. So, I would think he'd be thinking about, building something real nice. Now, the church doesn't take an offering, he doesn't take a salary, but I don't think we have to pretend anymore that the pastor has very influential friends and may have some money himself. You know, the people he hung out with at Mar-a-Lago for that fundraiser, the pastor from small Benton, Arkansas, I bet you would love to help him, would love to help him with this project. I believe they would. That's just my theory, my opinion. That's all that is. Okay, I think it's better now. Yes, I feel better about that. So, um, then I thought, so who would want to go? I mean, it's not going to be T.G. Jakes is not going to move his ministry there. For one thing, he's mired in controversy. Supposedly, he might have went to one of P. Diddy's parties. Don Lemon um, calls him pastor. Well, Don Lemon, I don't think Pastor Jakes is doing too good of a job with Don Lemon. So, there's a lot of stories about Pastor Jakes being gay and what have you, and that's just, unconfirmed rumor mill. But, he is on the hot seat and supposedly from what they say. I don't want to be spreading rumors. It's just that, you're not going to get too many big pastors. David Jeremiah is not moving to Benton, Arkansas. You know what I mean? Those kind of people, and they're getting on in years, all of them, right? Joe Osteen is not going to leave Houston, although he should with that weather. I can't believe there's not better weather in Houston with Joe Osteen living there. They've had so many floods. Where heart goes out to people all over that have been their homes have been lost, mobile homes included, of course, with the tornadoes and what have you. And we need to pray for them. We need to pray for them. So I thought there's nobody in Arkansas that could possibly replace Pastor Bob that I know of, unless it would be a friend of a famous celebrity that we don't know that is capable of pastoring. And then I thought, oh, there is somebody. There is somebody. I've already got his replacement. Isn't this silly? The one person that could fill quite a few seats is the former governor of Arkansas, television personality, author, does a million things, Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee could be the replacement. It depends on how long the pastor does this, how long before he really retires, and he wouldn't, if he just retired, he wouldn't have to leave the house. I'm sure Mike Huckabee could find suitable quarters or just, come into Benton on Sundays and he could draw a big crowd. A lot of people love Mike Huckabee. He loves the Lord Jesus Christ. He's a good man. So, we've got a lot of other things to say and exciting things to tell you about what's coming up, hint about what's coming up, whatever. But that's the big story. Pastor Bob Joyce is going to build a suitable place for all the people that seem to want to come to his church from around the world, internationally, in Arkansas. I knew it wasn't Graceland. I said that when we talked to you on Friday afternoon. Watch the Pop On to Pop Off show from the 7th of June. You can see all our live shows here at the Virtual Church of the Disillusioned. Just click on the live section. Please subscribe, please like, please hit the notification bell. And I've got a ton of catching up to do now. Please stay with us. Join the international family, and some that are from possibly just up your block. Deborah Lake, hi, welcome. Topeka, Topeka. Topeka or not Topeka? I think I know the answer is not Topeka. I haven't always been successful. I'm admitting that, Deborah Lake. How you feeling? Pastor Bob getting a bigger church. Yeah, baby. If he's smart, it will be a lot of seats. This is no time. There's just no point anymore, you know. Um, building a 100 seat church was a mistake. So let's have enough seats that whoever also replaces you, should they be well known, um, would have enough seats for those who came. Jack, is your cold better? Is your cold gone? It's gone. Not quite gone, but I love that commercial that you see on Fox News all the time. Uh, for relief factor, right? Um, I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone. Karen and I love that guy. Neo put out to pastor. When was Bob pasteurized? Neo. I've told you not to drink, but I can't really blame you because this is a pop on to pop off. But other than that, the rule for you is do not drink before a broadcast. Amanda, hi, listening from England. Well, welcome, Amanda. We have a few from England now. I hope Michael is out there, Michael Stein from England. And we heard from a couple of English folk uh, on Friday. I don't know if that was you. It seems like a different name, but I could be wrong about that because that's short term. Would you like to know what happened in 1965? I remember that. No? Okay. So hi, Belinda Lemon is really Margaret. We're getting flooded again. Think I'm going to have to get a U-Haul and get my things out this time. Might be a good idea if it's at all possible. Ted Richards, good news, Deborah. Does that mean good news on your treatments, Deborah? Kathleen Whataburger, Wiedenbacher. Hello, Jack. Um, Joyce, but not Bob Joyce. Is your cold? Yeah, I already read that. I'm gonna talk about it. I promise. But I'm trying to acknowledge people like Sammy, who's rather talk to Cindy. Susan Carter. Hello, Jack. Um, yeah, Cindy in South Louisiana. Hi, Susan. Um, and let's see, Adrian from Lawrence, Kansas. I'm so glad you're here. Boyd, Manila, I want to say, but it's not Manila because there's no N. Hello, Boyd. Greetings from Texas. Yes. Jamie, I thought it said Jamie Farr. Is he still? I think he's still kicking, right? Jamie Farrar. Did you delete the latest video, Jack? I was looking for it. Which one was that, Jamie? See, I start to talk a lot and the cough comes back. The one with the red hat, it was there last I checked. So let me quickly go through the rest of the list and then I'll see the more current comments. Darlene is here. Chantal. Uh, that guy 6, Patrick Phyllis. Richard Lyon is here. Yeah. Richard was one of my sources. The cough had stopped before I started this. Nancy DeMarco. Kay, she'll tell us more. Bob said the new location is 10 minutes from where they are now. Okay. For some people, that's a big distance. So we're going to need a church bus. I'm telling you right now, we're going to need a church bus. Pick you up somewhere, some parking lot in town or whatever. Maybe they'll keep the church property they have now and usher you on over. Yes, Stefan is here. Pam Donnelly, hi. Judy Wright, not Betty Wright, the cleanup woman. Cheryl Everhart, hi. Kay is from Kentucky. And I think we got it. Now let me go back to more current comments. Every time I tried to find the actual speech of Dick Van Dyke at the Emmy Awards, what was that, the Daytime Emmy? Yes, the Daytime Emmy Awards. I got, a video of somebody covering it, but not playing the speech. So I never heard what he really had to say. I saw the post interview where he sits on a chair, you know. I know he said during his speech, the oldest man to ever win an Emmy, right? Said, if I knew I had was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. Well, that is a total joke because Mr. Van Dyke has been diligently taking care of himself through every decade. He said, by the time I hit my 80s, I was exercising to stay out of assisted living. Stay out of assisted living. I'm hanging around now just to be annoying, something like that. So, yeah, what a charm, huh? I never found out what you said, Deborah, that was the good news. It's just too much for me to try to find. Faith Lloyd, please repeat it. Faith Lloyd, hi, Jack from Faith in Cincinnati at WKRP in Cincinnati. Yes, Cincinnati, Ohio. How are you feeling? I enjoy your program. Yeah, I do have some health stories and what have you, but it won't be lengthy, I promise you. Bob said they purchased 9 acres, plenty of room for parking. Yeah, well, you're going to have plenty of room for parking, depending on what your plans are. So that is very, very exciting. That is very, very exciting. And I wonder how long that will take. We're in June right now. Could they be open for Christmas? Just the sanctuary I'm talking about. If you want to be open by Christmas, hire the Amish to do it. Hire the Amish to do it. They'll have it up a week from Tuesday. I won't say the Jehovah Witnesses, but they're fast too. They're fast too. But they're, in my opinion, that's not a Christian faith. Not a Christian faith. Could use some green acres myself. Yeah. I've got to learn, don't just read Neo's comments, audition them before you read them. So if there's good news, Deborah, I can't find it, but we have been praying for good news, so that would be really, really great. So here we are with 52 people watching this pop on to pop off, a low replay crowd. Please comment in the comment section that you have available to you. 25 likes. Yes, please hit the like button. And please hit the notification bell. Most of the people here did. Or they were at least one of my subscribers. So they got notice that we were coming on. I knew that I was going to come on after I started hearing about the I started hearing about the announcement of 9 acres purchased. Really isn't. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Give all the glory to the Lord Jesus Christ. He heals who he wants to heal, when he wants to heal. He has a different plan for everyone. People that say he heals everyone on this earth, it's not true. But his plan was healing for you, and I'm very happy for that. Cancer-free. Praise God. I'm very happy for you, Deborah. I really am. I follow EC Stilton. I'm looking at a picture of her actually, who's got terminal cancer and is trying to hang on, but it's getting really tough. She's got young children and what have you. I mean, some of her children are older, but she's just a brave lady. Follow her on Facebook, EC Stilton. Buy her book. She's got one or two books out. And Sandra, hello. Jean Lee, hello from I was going to say Southern California, but it's South Carolina. Where are you? General area where you would be. I lived in Rock Hill, South Carolina for almost 2 years, I guess. Almost 2 years. Um, letting go is easier than hanging on. Yeah, well, hanging on is usually the better thing, but I never judge people. Say people are racked with pain and what have you. I don't judge people there. Um, my Bible tells me the one unpardonable sin is the blaspheming of the Holy Spirit. The blaspheming of the Holy Spirit. So I don't judge people that make a choice. I just don't. Oh, yeah, it is great news. I'm lucky to be living by the Ohio Amish. Such nice people. Yeah, right, they are. They're up here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. They are. They are Lancaster. They do ride the bus sometimes. You got to get places, for goodness sakes, you got to go Greyhound once in a while. I haven't gone Greyhound in many, many years. Many, many years. Oh, Greenville, South Carolina. Yeah, I was on television in Greenville, South Carolina, and the morning show, I think it started at 9 a.m. Very pleasant host. He's probably retired now. He was kind of a broadcast legend in the Greenville area. I wish I could remember his name, but he had a female co-host, and I can't remember her name either. But my second wife was a professional clown, and we were invited on. She was in full costume, of course, and we were invited on for a segment, and it was a lot of fun. Um, the whole clown thing for me was a lot of fun. I was sorry to see it go. um, but also, I did a lot of work during that time. And then I worked security when we weren't on the road, you know? So, but I remember Greenville, South Carolina very fondly. In fact, I think that's where my former pastor from Rock Hill ended up. Pastor Shelton Sanford became like, kind of like a pastor emeritus or whatever at the Presbyterian Church in Greenville. We saw him preach, my second wife and I, in Rock Hill. I've told this story, but we saw him preach. The idea was this was the first church we went to. We would go to like five churches and then pick a church. Like it would be us picking. That's stupid right there. You don't pick; you let the Lord pick. Um, so 10 minutes into the sermon, we felt such conviction in our hearts that this was our pastor speaking. He is a wonderful retired pastor now, Pastor Shelton Sanford, who I think may live in Greenville, but I'm not sure if he still does. If he still does, but he went there after Rock Hill. Um, so I'm just looking around here. And if you haven't signed in, let us know your name or make up a name and tell us where you're watching from. I'm glad we have someone from England. Any other countries being represented? We have the United States, Canada, and um, England that I know of. England that I know of so far. 100% humidity. Where are you again, Boyd? Yeah, I am reminded at this time of the year that as much as I love Florida, I want to go down there, about early February and um, come back in, say, What am I saying here? No, I'm getting it backwards. I want to go down to Florida in very early November and come back in hmm, the last weekend of February, maybe something like that. Maybe a little later. I'm actually planning this around Jimmy Sturr shows. Some of you know how much I love the Polka King, Jimmy Sturr. Cynthia Caldwell is here. Arlington, Texas. Well, that's a mega capital, right? I mean, I say capital. What I'm saying is that's, is that part of the Dallas Metroplex, Arlington? Like, oh God, where TBN headquarters are, Irving. I'm near Orange. Well, so is Donald Trump, but we don't talk about it. So President Trump has got a meeting today. I don't know if it's via video or in person. I assume it's in person with his parole officer from New York because the judge needs to decide what sentence he's going to give him. I certainly hope Chief Justice Roberts, they are not in session right now, is looking over all this because President Trump has already made an appeal to him to act before uh, the sentence date in July. He's asking for a special session because President Trump's popularity is going through the roof right now, and the fundraising over 200 million. Now it's probably much more. It's unbelievable. People are banding together. They want Trump back, and they know what has happened in New York City is an abomination. And the judge himself announced that there could be a tainted situation with the jury pool because one of the jurors told his cousin on Facebook that don't worry, this is before the verdict had been rendered. Don't worry, Trump is going to be convicted. You got to throw it out. There's your out, too, Judge. There's your out. So you're not such a bad guy to the people in your party. That's a mistrial. In the future, there'll be another trial, or not, or not. But there's your mistrial. There's your out. We have to really pray about this, everybody, because there's never been. Trump is so right about this, and I'm not unaware of the flaws of Donald Trump and the way he puts things. Sometimes made all people, including Mike Huckabee, you know. Shake their heads and say, why did he say he wanted to be a dictator, but just for one day? Why did he say this that way? Why did he's much better at it now, but every once in a while he gives them red meat. And even though we all know what he meant and he clarifies it quickly, they jump on it because they are without character. They are without character. So, somebody tell me if the video from Friday is there. I guess I could look at my own phone. Got me worried now. um, I know that there are programmers out there like Russell Brand and what have you that come on to YouTube. He's on Rumble though, right? He's on Rumble that are balls to the wall, so to speak. And I try to always take my platform seriously and not go too far with it. I notice others do go, in my opinion, sometimes a little over the rails, a little over the rails. I don't want to be one of those people. Um, when you're one of the smaller guys, you have to worry more. So, what else can I tell you before I talk about my things happened to me this week that have never happened to me in my life? Or, well, one thing I did this week that I've never done before, and one thing happened to me that's never happened before. And I'll talk about that in a moment. I wrestled with whether I would mention this one thing. But anyway, so many of you have brought up, is Brenda here? I don't see her. Brenda Noyes. She's on the replay. Hi, Brenda. You're here one way or another. One way or another. I'm going to get you. Going to get you one way or another. Um, Many people mention JFK. They, I shouldn't say many. There is a segment of my audience that mentions it. It comes up from time to time. You know, not a lot. I don't want to say the wrong thing here because people think, oh boy. Um, but there are people that say that JFK Jr. faked his death, right? And have asked me to talk about that, asked me my opinion, and they don't usually like my answer and what have you. And these same people may believe two or three other people fake their death, and it gets a little crazy. If I were to be totally honest with you, at some point I feel we have left reason and gone off into mental illness. But that doesn't mean everyone who believes JFK Jr. faked his death is in that category. The more people you believe faked his death, the more I start to wonder about you. I start to wonder about you, Scott Baker. Graceland, 120 acres. Well, we talked about that on Friday. Just wouldn't make sense. I mean, that's Riley's place now. He'd be going back to the house is not that big, really. It's not that big. I think he needs a much bigger house. And so I felt a strong conviction that Graceland would not be the place. Um, that he would want something more remote, and he loves these people. I thought about that a lot. He's built a relationship with these people in Benton, Arkansas. He doesn't want to uh, say ta ta, na na, hey hey, kiss and goodbye. He doesn't want to do that. So he's found the perfect solution. He's found a place. Yeah, baby. Uh, he's found a place that will give him remote privacy, not crime ridden Memphis. Didn't used to be that way, but it more so than ever now. I mean, there was always crime in Memphis, but it's worse than ever. And anyway, getting back to JFK Jr., one of my sources pointed me to, no one ever gave me anything. They just say it like, Abraham Lincoln's alive, and don't question me. I just told you. Isn't that something? You should say, wow, Jack. You should say, wow. And nobody has told me, just to be clear, I haven't used Abraham Lincoln. Nobody has told me Abraham Lincoln is still alive. I want to make that clear. Um, so, they give me 10 points. Well, ten statements. Nothing, no substance. Um, but one person told me about this guy. You may know him. Uh, and I haven't trying to remember his name, and I don't want to be rude. I don't want to get any part of it wrong, but you may know who he is. He's very successful, and I'll talk about that um, because I watched his presentation, and I think I should do a video on it. As my therapist told me when we were talking about my YouTube channel, I say my therapist, he gives me my Xanax, which I've been addicted to since the first marriage. Um, he said to me, "Well, if people enjoy these topics, you don't have to believe them yourself. You can address them if you think there's anything to say about them, any validity to them yourself. You can address them if you think there's anything to say about them, any validity at all." And I thought, well, that's exactly what Art Bell did. Art Bell didn't say he believed really any of the stuff that you could tell he believed in flying saucers. Um, but time for my medication. It's just one of the things about getting older. You can do a video without saying that you believe it. So I think there's enough. You pique my interest. I watch this guy's work, and I'm gonna do a video on JFK Jr. All right, that'll be coming up. I don't know what you were joking about, Boyd, but you were probably talking to somebody else, not me. So, um, yeah, it's just like I've said here before. I speak of possibilities. There's no problem if you don't believe what I say. Doesn't affect my views. It doesn't affect too much of anything. As long as people don't start to argue with all the nice folks here that believe Bob is Elvis. That would be the majority opinion, obviously. And like they're on a mission. You can hang around here with us. In other words, following the community guidelines of YouTube. That's all. So that'll be coming up. I could only do live on Friday because I uh, I lost my left monitor. It was old and served me for a long time, and then it just stopped working. So um, yesterday afternoon, as promised, from Amazon, my new Philips 22-inch secondary monitor arrived. I liked ordering from Philips because when I was a child in the 60s, we had a Philips TV. There was only like five channels. You had to get up off the couch or the recliner or whatever chair or the carpet, if you had carpet, and change the channel manually. Two, four, five, seven, uh, and 11. I don't know if we had 13 then. Um, yes. Well, I did we have rabbit ears? I'm sure we did at some point. Yeah, I'm sure we did it at some point. So, Philips has been around forever. They make medical equipment and everything. So, I'm happy to have my new um, 22-inch Philips monitor as the secondary monitor. It could become the main monitor if this one dies suddenly. If the computer goes down, I'm in trouble because my secondary computer over there um, is very old, and I don't know if we'd be able to use it for a while or not as the main computer. Um, so, well, we will do something on JFK. I've got more to do on Pastor Bob Joyce. Um, he is he's the making the news fast these days, and of course we have the event coming up in Hot Springs, Arkansas. I'm doing this late, and I don't want to wake up my neighbor downstairs, so I don't think I'll play that right now. But I'll get it into one of the pre-recorded videos for the big event coming to Hot Springs, Arkansas, the 10th and 11th, put on by George Magazine. Gene Ho is in charge of putting everything together. There's a lineup of people coming. A lineup of people coming on Saturday. Sorry, folks, I did not expect this to happen. Yeah, live is live. Black is black. I want my baby back. Hi, Claudette. Nice to see you. He would be in, not on the witness protection program, Joyce. If he ever was, and I've never said definitively that he is, I think he knew the FBI well enough that he wouldn't have to go into the literal program the more I think about it and still have their protection. But when you start, if you're in the witness protection program and you start a worldwide ministry on YouTube in 2011, that's the end of the witness protection program for you. Oh, you got to be, you know, you got to change your appearance. You got to keep real low key and go around the world via YouTube. No, you can't do that. No, no, no. Um, she's not Wilhelmina. She's Willina. Shell. I think I'll leave that one alone for now. Somebody else can have a crack at it. Karen Gagnon. Hi, Jack, Karen, and everyone. I hope you are feeling better. Did you just tune in? I've been having a coughing fit, unfortunately, but I have been feeling better. So here's the deal. I did go to urgent care last Monday. Chest x-ray was fine, but they said, well, that first antibiotic didn't knock it out. We'll try this one now, the one that never works for me, which is the Z-Pack. But it's still in my system, supposed to be, and I actually feel it sweating out of me now. That's a good thing. One big issue for me is getting more sleep. I just can no longer ignore that. I have to get more sleep than I was starting to get. I can't be going to bed 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and getting up and showering at 10 in the morning, because that is not 8 hours of sleep. And I'm up a couple of times in the night, so I just can't do it. Garlic and honey, huh? Yeah, I definitely use the honey, Scott. Garlic and honey. People say gargle with salt water and what have you. But I've also lost my sense of taste and smell. It's not COVID. I was tested for COVID and the flu, and they were negative. When you have a cold, you sometimes lose your sense of taste and smell. I can't taste this eucalyptus cough drop that I am rolling around in my mouth right now. I may have to pause from time to time to make sure that I minimize any more coughing fits. And it's like the Bible, Shell. We won't know every mystery. There's a lot of mystery surrounding Walina, and we can only give possibilities there. People that have it all figured out are really on the inside, and they usually don't want to say. They won't say. Thank you, Kay. I appreciate that, Kay from Kentucky. So what was it now? Friday, I did the pop on to pop off. By Friday evening, people could say I looked kind of spent by the end of that broadcast. I started to feel like I had a fever. Karen took my temperature, and it was 99.7. I don't usually run a temperature. And, I took something to reduce that fever, and I have my nebulizer now. And Saturday was not a good day. I got some sleep, but not enough. So for the first time, I have occasionally taken a nap from time to time over in the living room downstairs, which is on the other side of the duplex, Karen's part of the duplex. And it's not a very comfortable couch. I like to get a new one. But I've never done it 4 times in one day and fallen asleep. That's how sleep deprived I think I was. I took 4 separate naps on the couch on Saturday on the same day. So that was a lot. And, was it Saturday night? I guess it was. So I came up here Saturday night, uh, and, no, I'm sorry, it was Friday night that, I had my fall. There's that word you don't wanna say when you are a senior citizen, right? As the commercial says, falls are very serious when you're older, so just don't fall. I think it's for that sit-in tub, that commercial, the sit-in tub. So Friday night, I came up here and I felt like I have got to get some serious sleep. I have got to get some. I was weak, but not dizzy, not dizzy in any way. I was never dizzy. Um, so about 4 o'clock in the morning, I got up, nature call, and my legs kind of felt like jello. My legs felt like jello. And I said to myself, I've got to be careful because I could end up hitting that wall to the left of me. Um, Now, in front of that wall back there is a fairly hard table, but on top of it, I have a shoebox, a Skechers shoebox with my toiletries, my hairspray, my shampoo, my Spider-Man. This may sound crazy to you. My Spider-Man soap. It's really for kids to put their sandwiches in at school, but I use it to put my bars of soap in and other things. Which is it was good that they were in there because after I had that feeling, I have to be careful here. I could fall into that wall. It was like I was suddenly hurled from the Empire State Building with my back and the back of my head facing the inevitable uh, fall on the street, which of course would kill me instantly. And I just fell back at 4 in the morning. This tremendous thud, and but I was cushioned by my toiletries that were in that box, and half of them fell on the floor, and so I was stunned, and I tried to get back up. It gets harder to get back up after a while, especially if you're out of sorts. And so I positioned myself and I tried to press myself up. It was hard to grab onto the bed. So I tried to just press myself up halfway and I would just fall like I'm 90 years old now. I would fall onto the carpet. And I thought, well, this is not good. Um, my cell phone is not really within reach as it should have been. And I knocked another table over that's closer to my bed. That table has been moved now. And um, I, uh, I spent 10 minutes trying to find a way to get off the floor. I could have crawled out the door and crawled into the bathroom and yelled for Andy, whose room is next door, and he would have heard me. But anyway, I was able to get up finally and just scrape my knee a little bit and very minor injuries. Um, so I had a war story to tell Karen when I went next door the other day. I was able to get a fair amount of sleep, but I still needed more, and that's when I got 4 naps in over there on Saturday and started to feel somewhat better. So there you go. There's my health story, and I know Shell really enjoyed it. So today got some good sleep Saturday night, And on on today on Sunday, I felt better, but still wasn't ready to go out. You know, still can't taste anything or what have you. But I started to work. We have some back stairs that have a railing. The railings are fairly close, and I can grab each railing as I go up them, up and down a couple of times, and everything was good. And I feel like nothing ever happened for the most part. That in that way, never felt dizzy, nothing like that. I don't think it was my blood sugar. I don't think it was. But wouldn't you know, my blood pressure monitor stopped working, so I've got to get another one. So there you go. 67 watching right now. If you haven't checked in, where are you from? Uh, Love to know. Please hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell so you'll know when we come on. We talk about the pastor from Benton, Arkansas a lot, Pastor Bob Joyce, who has announced he is going to has purchased 9 acres of land in Arkansas, about 10 minutes, Kay says, from the current church. So there you go. Thank you, Claudette. I appreciate that. I do. Thank you, Ted Richards. Um, and 7 hours. Margaret, who's under the name Melinda, was stuck for 7 hours. I've heard about people that were literally stuck for days. Back in the great days of radio here in Orange County, there was a disc jockey named Dave Charity. He made it all the way to the New York City market, WPLJ, and he was also a an announcer for Channel 5, WNEW TV. He would just sit in a booth. This is before digital stuff. And every once in a while, he would give station identification or say, coming up next, Bugs and Friends, right here on Fox 5. He said it was the easiest, greatest job. He'd be reading the newspaper, what have you, reading a book. And then at certain times of the hour, he would break in to do his thing. And he got paid fairly well for it, especially when you consider the time. Anyway, his wife was a nurse, but she was going away. It could have been related to the hospital she worked at, Arden Hill, which is where my children were born. It no longer exists. She was going away for a weekend with the girls and with possibly, past staff. And she said goodbye to Dave, kissed him goodbye. And he didn't have, at that point, he wasn't doing anything. I think he was between gigs, plotting his next move or what have you. Had a great voice, just a great voice. And it wasn't long after that, he was in the kitchen and he got a pretty serious stroke. And he laid on that floor until she came back on Monday. He laid on that floor. And I've heard of other people that's happened to. It's just horrendous. So yeah, there is that. So yeah, we've got some more stuff to, I've kind of fallen, not that I need to do every Saturday night. Sometimes it's good to change it up, If I'm if I'm on the air at 10 p.m. for Worldwide Ramblings, that means by about 8:30, I gotta say goodnight to Karen and come over here. Yes, she is over here sometimes, just not all the time. And um, that's why I like to travel so much because then we have a much nicer room and, you know, away from it all, away from it all. Actually, Shell, he said, I used to I used to dance with my hips. I'm getting too old. Now I dance with my shoulders. Now I dance with my shoulders. He's been saying so many things lately, and I'm not going to say what I'm going to cover next, but he is like the programmer for me now, almost, which makes me think that when the time is right, and it's very important that the time be right. Now that we know about the 9 acres that are coming from a small town pastor who doesn't take a salary and doesn't even take an offering. I believe he gives his CD sales to the church as well. But he's building 9 acres. Um, but there are people that no matter what will never believe. And frankly, Scarlett, what was the famous line Clark Gable used? When he said that back in the early 60s or the 50s. So when was it? It was a big thing to use the word hell. I mean, damn. um, I'm fine with people not believing. To each his own. Thank you, Karen Gagnon. I appreciate the prayers, and I am trying to do a better job of it. It also leads to something that I may have to address that I've been avoiding for 25 years, which is that um, I have sleep apnea and it's untreated. Now I'm going to hear from people saying that. 25 years ago, Dr. Parks over at Middletown Medical wanted to set me up for the sleep lab, and I already knew this woman's reputation then. She's never met a patient that she didn't want to put on what I call kind of like being in the the intensive care unit. Uh, Give them one of those CPAP machines. I bet you she's given out over 100,000. Out of those 100,000 that she's given out since say the 80s, I bet you more than a third have stopped using the machine. There are people that if they don't use the machine, big people, very serious sleep apnea, they're dead. So, they have to use it. There are people that have a milder case of it and what have you. So 25 years ago, I knew that's what she wanted to do. I was told I had sleep apnea after a combination endoscopy, colonoscopy with Dr. Plumer, a wonderful doctor that I still see today. I guess I'm going to see him again. I think he's getting ready to retire. He was so young when I first saw him, but time moves on, right? Um, so I I did not make that appointment, and so far have not made the current appointment. Now, if you sleep in a recliner right next door in the room next door, we have the most comfortable recliner, which I just replaced with one from a Montgomery Ward catalog downstairs on the other side. Um, if you sleep in a recliner, you're going to be okay if you have mild sleep apnea because you're not reclining to sleep. I'm thinking, do I want to use that mask or do I want to go uh, uh, sleep on a recliner most of the time? So I'm debating that. Now, I already have one implant with I have cardiomyopathy, as you may know, probably a lot of you know. And so I have a defibrillator slash pacemaker in my chest. Um, and so the Inspire device that you see the commercials for, because you see this funny commercial, the support group for people that are on these damn machines and the hoses and everything. And they bring the hose and everything. They're all sitting around with their mask on and the hose dangling. It's the funniest thing. And it's a support group because it sucks wearing that. It sucks wearing that thing. Although there are people that wear them, like the delivery guy at Brother Bruno's, who says he gets great sleep with them. And I said, "What about your wife? She still sleep with you?" He says, "Well, sometimes I have to sleep on the couch." Yeah, I can see that a lot. That's happened to a lot of people that wear that thing every night. The other spouse, whether it be male or female, is looking for separate quarters now. Hopefully not outside the house, though. Not outside the house. So, but you know, it probably would help if I did that. I can't imagine it. And then you before this, of course, you got to take the sleep study, and once you become of a certain age, which I am now, um, they won't let you take the home study. Oh, you got to go into that sleep lab. I've heard so many people that have a similar personality to myself that just couldn't get to sleep at all. It was hell, a night of hell. And so they never got any results because they never fell asleep. They went home exhausted, barely able to drive. They were so tired. So I don't know. I don't know. Make me feel like I'm in the intensive care unit. Um, what do you think about Lisa Marie's book, Jody Smith says, that's coming out? Well, obviously, just that I know that it's coming out, and the subliminal picture that that, that's on the cover. I've seen the cover. I'm not sure. What would you say is the subliminal part, Jody? Because I've only seen it once or twice. I've glanced at it. I haven't really focused on it. Do I want to read the book? No, to be honest with you. Will I read the book? Probably yes. And I might enjoy it very much. But, you know, there's so many things to think about. I've got children I need to see. I've got Karen I want a better relationship with. Um, Relax time. Yet this is important. I love that you people here um, allow me to use my gifts at 68 years old that I started using in 1977 at WBUZ Radio, the sound of the country at 1570 in Fredonia, New York. It's a little different. I wish I could play some tunes, but I don't know how popular that would be. There's times when it would be really appropriate and you'd like it, but in terms of just doing a DJ show like I used to do, um, you know, that's for Sirius XM or something. Um, I never know what you're going to say next, Shell, so it's hard to react. I'm never sure exactly what you're talking about sometimes. You know, think of me reading it for the first time and say it in a way that I will know exactly what you're talking about. That's all I can tell you. Some things I look at and I don't want to respond to. And I'm in the high percentage of responses. Michael Savage is starting. Have you seen Michael Savage? Yeah, you've seen his brother Jack Savage. Now, see, Michael Savage, he used to have a really bad relationship with his audience, especially when he did radio on hundreds of stations. He hated it when people said, well, thank you for taking my call, Michael. He hated that. He asked you not to do it. So if you went on and did it, it wasn't going to be a good call after that. And I thought, come on, that's no big deal. Be thankful for your audience. Appreciate your audience. Now, if they are a bad call on radio, you have to dump it. You're playing to your major audience. The feelings of the caller cannot supersede the audience that's going to massively tune out if you don't dump the call. So there is that. That's radio. That's radio. And even if you do it on video, it's still a rule. You're playing to the big audience. Um, and I can just tell you, Shell, I have to be emotionally there, and I'm not there. Certainly wasn't there 25 years ago. Um, Certainly wasn't. Um, how did you hear, Jody, that there have been things that have supposedly or apparently been omitted? They're not going to make an announcement for Elvis should he be with us still. They're not going to do that. Riley would never let that happen. You know, she wouldn't let that happen. Um, so, uh, I feel I should read the book, you know. I feel I should read the book. 73 watching right now. Thank you. Where are you from? Are you new? Uh, if you haven't let us know about you, please pick any name you want. Sign in under it. I guess you have to sign in on your account name, right? And tell us where you're watching from. Hello, replay crowd. You too. Comment right there. Please hit the subscribe. And if you like anything at all, like and the notification bell. My throat seems to be calming down. Maybe if I speak less passionately and more seductively. Yeah, like that John Stamos commercial. Have you seen that? That's really a hoot. Um, 60 years old now, John Stamos, and he still brings it. But you know, the funny thing about John Stamos in his career, he's never really had a big movie, has he? He certainly hasn't had a string of big movies, but he's got this tremendous appeal that is ever enduring. And he pops up on this project and he pops up in that project and he certainly does commercials. And he was big as, was his character Jesse, right? On Full House. And, you know, women still love him. He's happily married now and what have you. Went through a time of drugs and alcohol. And, he had some rough spots there. But it's kind of like, what's that guy, Mario from the, is it Access Hollywood? There's so many of them. Mario Lopez, another good looking guy that um, found himself a niche doing the entertainment show and just kind of gave up his dreams to be a big movie star or something like that, you know? He said, this is a paycheck, like Pat Sajak 46 years ago, found a wonderful job. Wheel of Fortune. People don't realize the man worked 35 days a year for the most part on Wheel of Fortune. 5 shows 35 times in a year. They would do a batch and then he would take some time off and then they would do another batch. But he had a total of 35 days doing that show. Usually, the way it works is in any given day, you bring the same audience in for the first 3 shows and then you go to dinner. And remember, every show he's got to go back upstairs and put on another suit. He has 5 suits in one day. And you can't cheat like in radio where you can just put on the like I could be wearing no pants at all right now, right? Have I ever done a show in my underwear? I don't think I have because I'm just a broadcast professional, you know. And what if I had to get up fast? No. But many of these TV anchors that you see are wearing blue jeans and sneakers, but oh, they look so elegant from what you can see, right? I don't think Brett Baer would do that. I know he doesn't because he does parts where he does stand up during the broadcast. Uh, so Patrick Sajak and many game show hosts found the wonderful world Drew Carey is experiencing it now with when he took over for Bob Barker. And you can do many other things, because you have months when you're not working at all. And then, during the summer, they're showing reruns of the season. So he held on to it, but he is finally done. They'll show reruns of him all summer. And then in September, the man who has had more jobs than I can count, Ryan Seacrest, will be the host of Wheel of Fortune. I think they picked the right guy, another lovable guy that has hosted everything from American Idol to a popular morning radio show to a popular radio countdown to obviously live with Kathy Lee and Ryan to God, what else has this guy done? Just a body of work like the Let's Make a Deal guy. not Let's Make a Deal. That's Drew Carey, but the Family Feud, the current Family Feud guy with the bald head. You know who I mean. I don't know what say again. If you don't say what you're reacting to, I don't know what line I said that gets that reaction. I know you think I'm going to pull it out of my head. it could be funny to me if I knew what led you to say that. See, um, oh, the pajama comments, Kathleen. Uh, oh, I see. I bet you have. That reminds me of a Red Skelton line. He's in a skit with this old woman who's very frumpy and whatever, and she looks at him. It wasn't him as Red Skelton. It was one of his characters. Um, can't think which character it was. It wasn't when he used to play the hobo. It wasn't that one. But she takes offense at what he says. And she says, "Well, I never." And he says, "Oh, I bet you have. I bet you have." I loved Red Skelton. Uh, I should have copied that list I just saw. 10 things from funny things from Red Skelton. Why didn't I think to do that? Because I wasn't feeling well. So my creative energy was kind of shut down. I'm feeling stronger again, but got to wrap up soon. And Steve Harvey, of course, Selena. Selena M. Where are you watching from, Selena M? We've had several Selenas, I think. I don't remember Selena M, but that doesn't mean you haven't been here before. It just means that again, the short-term memory. Steve Harvey did they showed the whole like what a day was like for him. He lives in this tremendous looking mansion, right? And he comes down wearing a $500 tracksuit, high end all the way, baby. And he gets on a golf cart that's right in front of his mansion, and he's going to his radio studio, which is in a separate building. And he rides the golf cart. I think he drives it. He rides the golf cart over to the radio studio where he has an engineer waiting for him and what have you. And he does 6 to 10 a.m. Live around the country. And then he says, "Well, I got to shower now, what have you, and I got to get into the TV studio because we're taping the talk show, and so we got to tape this afternoon. So he's got to go do that." And then he says, when it got really complicated, when it was time to tape the Family Feud, that was done on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, 5 shows each. He couldn't do. He had to work more. He had to work more frequently than Pat Sajak would. The same amount, really, but it was spread out over a longer period of time because he had all of this calendar. And you see, this was a man that, when he told people his dreams, I think maybe his own family, they said, "Oh, black man can't do that. You can't do all that." He says, "Why can't I do all that? Watch me." And when Joe Biden says, "Watch me," it means nothing. It's like, don't, meaningless. But yeah, Steve Harvey right up there with Ryan Seacrest and a few others uh, that had like 4 gigs at one time. 4 gigs at one time. Now, when they do something like a top 40 countdown on the radio, they're not sitting, they're going into a studio, or nowadays the studio is likely in their house, but there's an engineer from the company they work for the countdown. And all he's going to do is he's going to have a script in front of him that they wrote. He's going to look it over. He's going to make notes and changes and what have you. This is what Casey Kasem did for years, gang. He never played the music. Sorry, he never did. But he would make changes, and then they would go, "Okay, track one. Welcome to Casey Kasem's American Top 40 on today's show." Da da da. If he's happy with his performance, on to track two, on and on. The whole 2 hour show takes him maybe 35 minutes, unless he's having a bad day and he's muffing words and everything. And then it's up to the engineer to make it sound. That record will come up right behind him as he's talking. And just as he says, "Here are the Beatles," they'll start singing. And you'll think he's sitting there playing the music when he never did. That's how a lot of radio works today. Usually, if you're listening to music on the radio today, the morning man could very conceivably be the only live DJ you're hearing. There are exceptions to that. They use a satellite jock, you know. Um, but the days of live DJs at 7 o'clock at night, even on big stations, because the audience is not what it was. It was ruined by the consultants that thought they know better. They would decide what the people would hear, and they thought, well, what seems to work is repetition, playing the same 70 songs over and over, and it works for a while. But then people get sick of it, and then they get sick of the commercial breaks. It's really tough these days for stations like CBS FM. You know, they don't make what they used to. I know that much for sure. Monty Hall was great. Yes, store number 3. And now, of course, what's his name does that? um, the guy who was on the show with Drew Carey, where they would do all the skits. I won't say impressions, but what do you call that? See, when I try to think of it in real time. Hi, Laura. How are you? Welcome. Laura's in Ohio, and 61 watching right now. So, as I said, President Trump is going to meet with the probation officer this morning. Please keep him in your prayers, those of you that want him to be the 47th president. I'm praying that Judge Roberts is watching all this from his home, taking a lot of notes, and seeing if it may be possible to bring the Supreme Court together, as they did when Al Gore requested that, when he felt that he had won the state of Florida, not George W. Bush. And they made an exception to the rule, and he was able to jump to the Supreme Court, and they made a decision. This is an abomination, what's going on, I believe. Um, you commit a bookkeeping error that was done by your accountant, and they turned that into 34 felonies. And in terms of Georgia, when he said to the governor, find me, I need 37 votes, he didn't say fake 37 votes. He felt in his own heart, and from what he was being told, that there were plenty of votes that were not counted. That's what he was being told. There were votes that still needed to be counted, and he wanted them to count those votes. He wasn't asking for anybody to create votes. Oh boy, it gives you a sick feeling in your stomach when you see this going on. But I don't dispute the 2020 election. As John Kazimatides, the owner of WABC, said, fighting the 2020 election results is like arguing who killed President Kennedy. There's just no point, and it takes your focus off what it needs to be. As President Trump says, um, November 5th is the most important day in the history of the United States. November 5th, 2024. So yeah, would be 89. Someone corrected me and said 88, and I just went for that. I should have looked it up quickly myself to make sure I was right, right? Oh boy. So that means 90 come January. Yeah. You think Dick Van Dyke could pastor a church? I think if he was sitting down, he could. I think he could. It would certainly be an interesting church. I don't know what his personal beliefs are, but I hope he believes in the Lord Jesus Christ. I suspect he does. I suspect he does. Those of you that are bigger fans than me, that maybe read his books or whatever, would know more about that. So, well, Ted, I can say I'll do a video on JFK Jr. I don't think I'll do more than one, but I will address some of what I saw in the gentleman's presentation, because until I saw him, I didn't have anything to go on except people saying JFK Jr. is alive. I don't have to come to a conclusion, really. when I do a video like that, or I just, I tell a tale and you make up your own mind. You make up your own mind. That's how it's supposed to be, right? As See, what we have now is the people that say they're fighting for democracy are the very people that are trying to uh, take your rights, your uh, your freedoms away. So they are really the basket of deplorables. So keep that in mind. And then there are good Democrats. I saw something on CNN. I went to go for Fox News because it was getting close to Mark Levin. It was excellent tonight. Um, and uh, the anchor that I have not seen before was introducing Randy Kay. I remember I used to watch Randy Kay. I liked her. Used to like a lot of the people on CNN until the woke agenda came along, and they were exposed for the journalists they are really not. And she was introducing a piece about uh, drag queens, and it was going to be on the recorded Anderson Cooper show that he does on Sunday night. And it's like 60 minutes, I guess. And Randy Kay had already recorded the piece. And she was inferring that the people that are not for having their 6-year-old son or daughter sit and be read a story by a drag queen was that's because it's a political thing. In other words, all the Democrats are just fine with that, and those MAGA Republicans, they're the problem. And we have seen these drag queen events where they had little children with their parents there going up and putting $5 bill or whatever in the g-string of the transvestite drag queen, whatever. And it just goes to show you that stupidity now reigns. Stupidity now reigns. That's not for our children. That's not for our children. So fantasies are best kept right here, or with two consenting adults, but not with our children. Um, that's the story there. So I, I just find watching CNN repugnant, and I used to love it. It's a shame. But you know what Jack Savage said? His sponsor for his latest talk is the Fake Jake Crapper School of Journalism. If you haven't watched Jake Crapper, or Jake Tapper, there are 3 videos up here on this channel, the Virtual Church of the Disillusioned. Check them out. Look through the list of our videos. I appreciate if you do that. So I'm spent again, but not in a bad way, not in the part where it's like I felt Friday afternoon, rebuilding my strength. So look for a pre-recorded video soon. Have your notification bell, subscribe, hit the like button, please. Jack Willard saying, thanks so much for joining me here late night for Pop On to Pop Off. Talk to you soon.